What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fantasy Files Reacts, where we talk about our favorite movies, TV shows, and video games. We are your co-hosts, Spencer and Gabe. And Gabe, what are we doing today?
Oh man, today we are here to talk about the season 2 finale of Yellowjackets.
That's right. We just watched this finale. It's super fresh,
Yeah.
and I am super excited to talk about it. I have many feelings about it that we will explore in this discussion. But first, viewers, if you would like to help us out, you can subscribe and like the video. That always helps us get seen by the algorithm. If you'd like to reach out to us, our Twitter and Discord are linked below. We also have a Patreon page if you want to support the show financially. That helps us pay for like microphones and our multiple subscription services we use to like edit and put music in the videos and whatnot. So if you'd like to help us out that way, that's awesome. But if you can't support financially, again, subscribing and liking is the way to do that. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all we got for our intro. Have you? I feel like we almost did this just a few days ago because it's only been a week since we
Yeah.
watched the last Yellowjackets. So in the past week, have you seen anything new or played anything new, or did you guys get much further in The Good Doctor?
Nope, haven't had a chance to. We watched an episode last night of The Flash, not The Good Doctor.
Okay.
But other than that, no, I've just been super uber busy.
Yeah, I think that I really haven't seen much either. I talked about this last week, but I think now that Yellowjackets is over, I'm gonna start just watching some shows that I've been meaning to get to because I feel like I can really only watch one show at a time. I've never really been able to watch multiple shows at one time just because I get so into
Yeah.
whatever I'm watching. So I think I'm gonna, take you up on your offer of the Apple, the
Yeah.
Apple thing, if
Apple
if I
TV.
if I can use your account,
Yep.
because there's definitely some stuff over there that I really want to check out. There's some stuff that my cousin has recommended to me. I think he wants me to watch Mayor of Easttown. I think, and yeah, so I'm gonna check that out. I'm not even sure what it's about, but he was telling me I need to watch it. So
Nice.
that's probably coming up. But I think that we'll probably, unless there's something you really want to talk about, I think we'll probably be taking a break from uploading episodes like this for a little while, right? Because like show
Yep.
discussions, because I think that it's a lot to edit. I'll be honest,
Yeah,
because we have
I bet.
we have a full episode that goes up on Monday or Tuesday on the main channel, and then we have a like 15 to 20 minute episode that goes up on Saturdays on the main channel, and then doing this in between that is like, oh my god,
Yeah,
it's
that's gnarly, dude.
so much. So yeah, maybe take a step back on this kind of content, but I have absolutely loved
Yes.
doing this with you and
Super
talking
fun.
about we started it with The Last of Us, and then we went in pretty much immediately to Yellowjackets, and it has just been a ton of fun discussing this show and seeing. I mean, it's both of our first time reactions, but getting to see you binge the first season and
Yep.
getting to kind of see your reaction to that, and watching you kind of fall in love with this series in the same way that I did.
Yep.
It's just been really great kind of going through all this and talking about it together and
Yes.
watching the episodes together. It's been a ton of fun. Like I've really been looking forward to sitting down every other week and watching a show together. It's
Yep.
been really cool. So yeah, we'll definitely do more in the future. I think that stuff is just about to get really busy for us. Gabe started a new job and he's doing some moving as well. So we'll probably take a step back from this for now. I might upload some video game content or something from time to time. But yeah, so let's. Oh, I guess I should talk about what else I've been watching. I think yeah, so I'm gonna start the Apple Plus stuff, and then as far as video games, I'm still going super deep into Assassin's Creed
Yeah.
Odyssey. And my god, dude, I know I said this last time too, but I love that game so much. Even playing it today, I got to the point where my notoriety or whatever got so high that I
Were
had
you getting
multiple.
chased by the
Yeah,
bounty hunters?
the
Yeah.
bounty hunters, they were
Yep.
coming after me, and I was in this field. It wasn't even in like a town or anything, but
Mm-hmm.
they all just kind of converged on me
Ooh. So
in
you had to
this
just do
field.
battle.
Yeah, and there was 3 of them, and I'm like dodging and going behind rocks and shooting them with
Yeah,
arrows and all this stuff, and like trying to manage all 3 of them and recognizing like, okay, this guy is the closest to me, so I have to shoot an arrow that launches him back. Then I can deal with this guy with my swords,
for a
and
second, and
just
then have to go back to the other guy.
yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
I remember it, man. I
I
remember it.
love that so
Yeah.
much. I love that so much. And there was even moments where like where they would get distracted enough. I was able to push them far enough away where I could duck down and go into a bush. And then they'd be like, "Where'd she go?" And they're like looking around, and then I
Yep.
hop out and assassinate. And
Yeah.
oh, dude, what a great gameplay loop. What a
Yeah.
just fantastic combat system. Like I don't know if there's a better combat system
Yeah, that
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 I've
was by
played.
far my favorite combat system in any game that I've played.
Yeah.
The dodging is especially fun. Getting that perfect parry or the perfect dodge,
Yes,
that's
dude.
addictive.
I got a perfect dodge earlier, and I forgot that it was a thing
Yeah.
because I just happened to dodge at the right moment, and then everything slowed
Yep.
down, and then I went over and just like,
Yeah.
oh, dude, it's the
Yep.
best feeling.
What kind of weapons? Like what? Like do
So
you
I
use daggers,
use
swords,
yeah.
axes?
So I switch between. I have 2 that it lets me switch between,
Mm-hmm.
and I have the pole arm, like a big,
Yeah,
heavy,
long
like
one. Yep.
two-handed axe type thing.
Yeah.
And then I have my daggers, my
Nice.
dual wield
Yeah,
daggers.
daggers were my favorite for sure.
Yeah,
You could just do so much damage so fast.
yeah, she moves really quick
Yeah.
when you're tapping those buttons like
Yep.
crazy. Stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a ton of fun. But I mostly use the bow. The bow is really my thing.
Yeah.
And you've noticed that in games that we've played
Yes.
together lately, I'm
You
usually the
are a
sniper.
long,
Yeah,
yes, you're a long range player for sure.
yeah. So yeah, the bow is naturally my go-to, as it was in Skyrim. In Skyrim, I
Yeah.
just use a bow. I'm the
Yeah.
sneaky archer.
Yep.
And it's just a ton of fun. There was a moment earlier today where I was trying to shoot. Did you ever get the ability where when you're using a bow, you can hit a button and you can like guide the arrow?
I did. Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
I was shooting at a distance where even that was like falling before it would get
Yeah.
to the target. And so what I started doing is just I watched the ground and I aimed into the sky and I shot it, and I just started figuring out where it was falling, and I
Yeah.
just kept adjusting until it got over to the guy.
That's
And
awesome.
I was just like shooting over this big rock and hitting this guy, and he had no idea what was going on. And he's like on fire. He's just like,
Yep.
oh, dude, it
That's
was
awesome.
fantastic game. I love that game so much. I'm excited to go play it after this. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I've been doing. I haven't really been watching anything, although I do think I'm going to get the Regal Movie Pass. Do you have one of these?
Mm-mm.
It's for Regal Theaters, and I know AMC does it as well. But for Regal Theaters, you can pay $21 a month and go see as many movies in the theater as you want in
Oh,
that
that's
month.
cool.
And there's a Regal right down the road, so I think I'm going to pay for that. I'm just going to go see a bunch of movies.
Nice. I don't even know what's out right now in theaters.
There's like Guardians of the Galaxy
Oh,
3.
yeah, yeah.
There's The Little Mermaid that just came out. Good Lord. That God, that movie looks so stupid. And then there's a new John Wick, Sisu, that looks really good. It's
Yeah.
about this guy who it's just some like dumb action movie. Like this guy got his gold stolen by the bad guys from World War II,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes and hunts them all down, kind of like Inglorious Bastards,
Oh, okay.
and just goes on a killing spree.
Sweet.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I don't know. There's quite a few things out. I wish I still had the list pulled up, but I was looking at them earlier, and I'm like, I could go see like 3 or 4 of these movies that are out now. So So yeah, I think I'm gonna do that because that's what a great deal. $20 and you
For
get to
sure.
go see
Yeah.
as many movies
Especially
as you
if
want.
you go see 2 movies and it's already paid for itself.
Right. Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's talk about this finale, Gabe.
Yes, let's do it.
I wanna get your thoughts before I bias them. What did you think of this finale overall?
I will start by saying I was impressed. It was very good. I feel like I kind of expected, quite a few of the things that happened, which is cool. Don't
Hmm.
get me wrong, not a bad
Sure.
thing. There were a couple surprises, which that's what I was looking for, where there was, oh shit, I didn't
Right.
expect that moments. But overall, it was good. I think they ended it off nicely, and it just makes me itch for season 3.
Yeah.
So I think they nailed it in that aspect of, watchability.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm I'm bummed that now I have to wait probably another normally it would be another 9 or 10 months until we got the start of the next season.
Yeah,
But with the writer's strike, who
could be
knows?
longer.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
could be longer. So hopefully the writer's strike doesn't go on too much longer. But yeah, I really liked it. Especially, I think I was more interested in the first half of the episode,
hmm
and the second half of the episode I was kind of hoping for something bigger, something a little
yeah,
crazier, and like holy shit, like I
yep,
did not see that coming. And with Natalie dying, that was certainly a surprise, but the way that it happened, I was like, really? Like Misty accidentally stabs her with her, epinephrine, or not epinephrine, phenobarbital.
yep,
And I was just like, man, I wanted there to be like some serious brutality in
yeah,
in modern day, like some serious like Lottie killing Shauna. Like that's
yeah,
that's what I wanted. So that was kind of a bummer. But I think overall it was a good finale. I'm ready for the next season. Super bummed that Natalie is now
yeah.
gone. I feel
Sucks.
the same way about Natalie dying that I did, Jackie dying in the
Yeah,
first season. I'm
yeah,
like, dude, how are we gonna have the rest of the show without Natalie? And I said the same thing about Jackie. I'm like, wait, but she's like the main character. How are they gonna go on? And they did. And they
yep,
made they made everybody else the main character.
yeah,
So, what do I know? I'm
yeah.
sure
True
I'm
that.
sure season 3 will give us even more great characters to love and more people to
Yep.
follow. And do you think that these seasons will just kind of whittle down until there's really only one girl left? I kind of wonder if there's one that's
That's
going to die
that's the
every season.
theme. That's
Yeah.
the theme. That's what's been going on. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case.
Yeah.
And then maybe that one is like the chosen of the spirit or whatever and gets to go live in the wilderness.
Right. It gets to go live in the wilderness.
Be a crazy
Yeah.
witch.
So yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll kind of explore more of our bigger thoughts on the episode as we go through
Hmm
some of these scene by scene. So I think the beginning of the episode, like, I mean, you heard me during the beginning of the episode. I was like, holy shit, because the whole first like 10 to 20 minutes had me like almost kind of sick to my stomach,
Yeah. Me too.
like actually revolted,
Yep.
because Javi died in the scene behind me here,
Yep.
and at the beginning of the episode they're hauling him in, and Natalie goes to Travis and she like hugs him and then walks inside, and they set Javi down, and Travis is like, what, like how did Javi die, what,
Yeah.
what the hell? And he knows, like, imagine that's your brother, and that the rule that everybody has agreed to
Yep.
is that whoever dies, we eat them.
Yeah.
And so imagine your brother dying
Yeah.
and
Can't.
them coming back with his body, and the rule that you have agreed
Agreed to.
to
Yeah.
is that everybody eats him. fuck, dude.
Yeah, that shit's crazy.
Oh my god. That it literally like made me sick. Like I
Dude, yeah, when they're cutting into
oh
him, I was like, I'm not even gonna watch this.
oh my, it was so hard to watch, and I can't imagine just poor Travis, dude.
So fucked up.
He has been getting the worst of
Yeah.
everything this whole show, like
Yeah.
right from the beginning.
Yep.
He like had to pull his dad out of a tree when he got impaled from
Yep.
falling out of the plane. Oh my god, just everything, dude. And even Travis in the present day, that's probably why he was so fucked up in the present day.
Oh,
Is
absolutely.
because
For
he
sure,
had to
dude.
eat his fucking
That's
brother.
why Natalie was so fucked up because she killed his brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh my god, dude. The whole thing, and just everybody, just that whole vibe at the beginning of the show, just everybody in that cabin, like, okay, this is what we have to do.
Yeah.
And oh my god, it was so good, but it was so unsettling, which is exactly
The way it should be.
it's the way that it should be.
Yep.
It's what the show set out to do. It's everything I wanted from the
Yep.
show. And so I was really happy to see us get back to that, like, this should make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, this, you should not feel good about what you're
Yep.
watching.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I
That could be the description for the
yeah,
show. You know, Yellow
like,
Jackets,
you
you should
shouldn't
not,
feel
yeah, you shouldn't feel good about what you're seeing.
oh my god, what an incredible thing to pull off after, there's been so many like horror movies and horror shows that we've all kind of gotten accustomed to, and there's not much that really scares people anymore. And so for a show to come in like this, and it's like, we're not necessarily going to give you jump scares, but
Yeah.
you're not going to feel good about
Yeah.
anything
You
you're
will be
seeing.
unsettled by it all.
Yeah.
More than
I
unsettled.
I think that that's such an awesome thing
Yeah.
to pull off, and so kudos to them, kudos
Yep.
to the writers and the music team.
Yeah, it's
All of the
amazing.
music in this episode was so good. Oh my god, there was so many songs where I was like, this is the perfect song to
Yep.
have at this moment. The Killing Moon by Echo and the Bunnymen,
Yeah.
like they played that a couple times throughout this song, and I'm like, oh yeah. And if you're like, I have subtitles on, so I'm watching
Mhm.
the lyrics on the screen. I'm like, oh yeah, this fits perfectly.
Yeah.
And just great job to them, fantastic job. There was another song that was in there, I forget what it was, but I was like, oh, I love this song. um
I don't know the names of any of them, so I can't help
yeah,
you.
so I wish I could remember the first one that I was like, yes, this is a good song. So then we see Shauna we go to the future or the present day, and we see Shauna kind of telling Lottie, like, the spirit wants a hunt and all this stuff. And at first I was like, wait, is Shauna buying into this? And she's trying to get everybody a little bit more time, because the
Yep.
last scene we saw with them, Lottie has these cups of poison, and they're basically playing Russian roulette with
Yeah.
this poison. And Shauna's like, wait a minute. Let's give the spirit what it wants. Let's give it a hunt. And that's kind of exactly what Lottie wanted to do. And so
Yep.
Lottie gets everybody into their cabins, tells them no matter what, don't come out. And Lottie is kind of like, okay, we got to get the cards. We got to get like the knives and get our masks and all this stuff. And how everybody kind of accepted that, or at least how they talked about it. Like, in their heads, they weren't really accepting of it in the moment, but how they all talked about it, it's like, oh, that's right. Like, they've been doing this for
For sure.
years. Like, not,
It's like second nature.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
And it's like not since they've gotten off I keep wanting to say the island, but not since they've gotten back home, but for however long they were out there, this became a routine. Like, it really
Yep.
makes you think, like we've seen this once in the past and it was scary, but then they did it again and again and
Yep.
again and again. And this is something that happened many, many times, every time they needed to eat.
Yep.
And they
It's
would
true.
they would they would pull cards. And it was really just unsettling in the way where it's like, oh my God, we're about to see a lot more of this. Like
Yeah.
we're about to see a lot of this in the past.
Yep. For sure. Yeah. And remember, when all those new girls showed up in the last thing, like
Cannon fodder.
they probably got 8. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They had to have been introduced for cannon fodder for
Yeah.
sure. So then someone has an interesting line. I can't remember who it is. I think it's Thaisa. And this is after Lottie leaves and goes to put everybody in their cabin and stuff. And Ty says she thinks that it's talking to her again. Have you all forgotten where that leads?
Mm.
And so I'm interested to see if she's just talking about the stuff we've already seen in the past, or if there's some big event that happens where it's like, yeah, this is where this leads. Is
Yeah.
her like whole spirit thing, like that's where this goes.
Yep.
So maybe there will be some big event that we haven't seen where it's really catastrophic. And then in the past, Misty tells Lottie about Javi. Lottie says, "I never meant for this," and Misty says, "You started this. It's
Yeah.
done, and it's gonna save all of our lives. So you better not start making people feel bad about it now."
Yep.
And
And then
this
Misty
is
goes downstairs and says, Lottie's so grateful. She said
right.
the
Yeah.
spirit has fed us.
Right.
The wilderness has fed us.
Yep. Lies to everybody.
Yep.
And it's like, shit, maybe Lottie's not as on board with this as we've thought. And maybe they even mention it later in the episode, like, we made her this way.
Yeah.
And so it kind of shows that Lottie is now kind of getting the peer pressure to keep up appearances and keep this going, even though she probably doesn't want to.
Yep.
And
Well, and that's why she passes the torch.
yes, I was about to say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I was just say she tells Misty that that's not what she wanted, and I think she dwells on that for a little bit, and then she tells everybody like that's it wasn't supposed to be like this, and her thing was, oh, she's like it doesn't, I can't hear it anymore, it doesn't need me anymore,
Right. Yeah.
because all you guys can hear it now.
Yeah.
And I don't know why do you think she picked Natalie? Do you have any idea
That's
what
a
it was?
good
Or
question.
yeah, because I can't pinpoint what exactly it would be, other than she's been kind of separated from the delusional part of them,
Right.
for most. So that could be it as well.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that Lottie it looks at Natalie and she sees a leader. Like you said, she also sees that Natalie's a little bit more level-headed than, because all of the other girls get really into the like blood fever
for
kind of
sure.
part of
Yep,
it.
blood fever. That's a great word for
Yeah,
it, dude.
they all get really wrapped up in whoever is leading, like whatever anybody else tells
Yep.
them. I think that I was expecting her to pick Misty. I thought Misty would
Well,
have
Misty
been.
thought that too. Did you see
Yeah,
her face? She
she
totally thought. She got all
yep,
excited.
she started to stand up.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, in that scene, Lottie was just like, kind of like, I can't be a part of this
Mm-hmm.
anymore. Like, this has gotten way too far ahead of like
Yep.
what I planned for it to be,
Yeah.
or what I wanted it to be. And so she's like, I just can't have this on my hands anymore, and
Yep.
passed it off to Natalie, probably hoping that Natalie would know how to redirect the group and
For
how
sure.
to get them back on track and thinking clearly.
And you saw, they all bowed or
Mm-hmm.
curtsied to Natalie too, which I thought was interesting. Not interesting, but just goes you to show their devotion to whoever's in charge.
Yeah,
And
they
so Natalie's got the potential to really turn them around if she chooses to do so, because they'll listen, they'll do what they're told.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, Natalie was always kind of the one in the group that would be like, I'm doing this, and everyone would be like, shut up, Natalie.
Yeah.
And so now but the whole time she's actually been the one with the best head on her
Yep, for
shoulders.
sure.
And it's so it'll be interesting. I'm excited to see kind of what she does with the group and how she changes the way that everybody kind of operates and
Yeah.
whatnot. And then we get this scene with um Shauna, or all of them really. Shauna comes out with the knife, and Travis is bent over Javi. Just that moment, we kind of talked about it earlier, but that moment where like he doesn't want them to do it, but he knows that he's agreed to this, and
Mm-hmm.
so he has to walk away from his
Yep.
brother and let her cut him up.
Yeah.
And then we see her put him on the table and like bleed the body and all that stuff. What a horrific scene. And then
Oof.
and we
Yeah.
see Ben, he comes through the woods at that moment, and he sees her cutting the body up,
Yep.
and he's like, I got to get out of here. And he turns around, and
Natalie.
Natalie's there,
Yeah.
and she's like, what, or no, he says initially, he's like, hey, I found a spot we can go where like you don't have to do this anymore, we can survive the winter.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm worse than they are. She's like, I basically killed Javi.
Yep.
And he's like, what? And she's like, you gotta go. She's like, you shouldn't be here. Like
Yeah.
you,
You're a good person. You should
she,
not be here.
yeah, she's like, you're a decent person. Like you, if you can get out of here, you should. And I think that was a really sad moment, because that was one of my theories in the last discussion we had, was that maybe him and Natalie would run off and leave all the crazy people to do their
Yeah.
crazy stuff. And yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with Ben. I if he's not a part of the group, I have absolutely no idea. I really thought, and what I thought was going to be the big reveal of the finale, was seeing that there's another person out there in the wilderness,
Yeah. Me too.
and seeing like, the person that lives in that tree, because obviously somebody lives out there,
Yep.
or did. um and so yeah, I thought Ben was gonna find that person and they would kind of team up.
Yeah.
So older Misty looks for Lottie's daughter or doctor
Yep.
info, to get Lottie committed. At first, I was wondering if she wouldn't actually be able to find any doctor info since the therapist was in Lottie's head.
Yep.
I was like, what if she just can't find any doctor info? But it
Yeah.
looks like she found some pills with a doctor's name on it. And then she's hiding, and you and I both cheered at this moment where she's
Yep.
like hiding around the cabinet, and we see these boots. The camera just shows these boots, and at first I was like, "Who is that?" And you saw it coming first. You're like, "It's the guy. It's
Yep.
Walter." I'm like, "Wait, what?" And then it panned up, and I'm like, "Let's go!"
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
oh,
Walter.
he's got a plan. He came in with all
He's
this
a
stuff
badass,
set up,
dude.
and
He's a
he's like,
badass.
let's just come in and save the day. Like,
He's
let's
probably one of my
go,
favorite
Walter.
characters, I
Yeah,
think.
dude.
Yeah.
I did not expect to care about this character as much as I do
Me neither.
now
Yeah.
at the end of the season.
Yeah. He's awesome.
So then we get a scene that Van is on board with the plan, where she's talking with Thaisa, and Thaisa's like, what do you mean? Like, we can't actually go through with this. And Van is like, I don't know. She's like, we saw some weird stuff out there.
Yeah.
And, maybe there is some sort of spiritual aspect. We saw this whole thing with Lottie out in the wilderness, and, she's there was just some weird stuff that happened. Like, I feel like she's kind of more on board with the whole
Yep.
spiritual thing.
I would agree too. It's
And
hard to, it's all just denial.
yeah,
At least from the others, because there was some weird shit and they did some weird shit.
yeah,
And I guess you can justify that both ways. Either they're all crazy, or I really believe that there is something going on that's beyond them,
yeah. I
Um,
I I kind of hope there is.
Me too.
I don't know if at this point I really think that there's some actual spiritual stuff going on, because the only person that we've seen weird stuff from is Lottie,
Hmm.
and she's the one that has schizophrenia or
Yeah.
whatever. And so I really hope that there is some sort of weird spirit or weird thing going on. But I also think that at this point, it could be just as likely
Then it's
that
just kind of a group psychosis thing brought on by Lottie going nuts.
yeah, where I have an article here. So this is what IGN says. They wrote an article about the finale here, and I don't know if I agree with them because I still believe that there is a possibility that there could be some supernatural stuff, but this is what they say. Speaking of poor old Lottie, the finale seems to confirm a big and very sad theory. Lottie was never really an all powerful cult leader or even supernatural spiritualist in the woods, but instead was actually just a woman struggling with mental health issues who was forced into a role of ever more out of control power by her friends,
Mm.
which that last part I would kind of agree with because
Yeah.
we see that with Misty talking
Yep.
to her like, no, you're going to do this because this
Yeah.
is how we stay alive. And then while Yellowjackets hasn't confirmed or denied the supernatural side of things, Lottie's journey hints that this might be more of a story about trauma, loss, and mental health than magical beings in the woods. Um, it's also interesting to note that when it comes to the big supernatural question, that Lottie has a very interesting line when Shauna says, "There was no it was just us," in regards to the wilderness and they're killing people. Lottie says, "What's the difference?" Which definitely feels like it leans into the non supernatural argument. Why? Well, this exchange could be read as the women admitting that there was no wilderness spirit, and the girls essentially made it up to feel less guilty about what they had to do to survive. But we'll have to wait until season 3 to see how that plays out.
Mm.
And I think it's an interesting argument, right?
Yeah.
Because
It sounds good. Like it sounds very plausible.
yeah, because I think I at this point I don't think that I would be upset if it turned out that there was no supernatural
No, it'll
stuff.
still be amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll still be really good.
and like of course I want there to be, but I also love exploring the idea that these girls who are in this traumatic situation had to kind of invent this thing
Yep, in
to
order to
make them
cope. Yeah.
cope with it. And I think that that is easily explorable in just as interesting ways as the
Yeah.
supernatural stuff. But I do hope that we get to see some supernatural
Yeah.
stuff. But even if we don't, I think it's a great, just kind of a great theme or whatever.
Yep, definitely.
And then we see Jeff and Callie showing up at the cult camp.
Yeah. So dumb.
and and you called it. You said right as they pulled up, you were like, dude, what about like the cops have got to be following them?
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, yeah, maybe. And then they pulled away and there's a car right behind them. And sure
And it's
enough,
the
it's the
fucking
cops.
cops. Yep.
And I'm like, God damn it.
Kevin
Uh,
Tan and Pretty Boy.
Kevin Tan and Pretty Boy. I can't remember the other dude's
Me
name.
neither.
Um, but yeah, so they come in and they start going into the camp. And then we get another scene with Natalie and what's the really pretty girl's name?
Not sure.
I can't remember. I
I
want to
want to say like
say
Jess or something.
yeah, I was gonna say Emily. I can't remember, but
She's the girl with the piercings, with the lip ring and the nose piercing.
yes,
Can't miss
yes,
her.
yep. Gabe and I are both very attracted to her. We said multiple times while watching the
Yep.
episode.
She is freaking gorgeous.
Yeah, but Natalie has this great line where she's telling that girl to leave, to go and have a normal life and just get out of here because she knows that something crazy is about to happen
Yep.
at this camp. And I also wonder what's going to happen to this camp now that Lottie is gone. Like I
Yeah.
wonder if the rest of the team is going to stay there. I don't know if they would,
Interesting.
but it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Um, but Natalie has this great line where it's a really sad line where she tells the girl, "I appreciate you trying to teach me forgiveness. It's a nice idea."
Yeah.
And that just broke my heart.
Yeah.
Is like, Natalie, oh my god.
She's got some demons, man, that aren't
She's
just gonna. She's
yeah,
not willing to part with.
right. It's really sad. Um yeah, then let's see. We talked about Ben. So yeah, then we get a scene back in the past with Travis and he's talking to Van. and he says, you should be ashamed of what you're doing. And she's like, I'm not ashamed. I'm one of the ones alive, and so are you. And then she kind of goes into this whole thing like, let your brother save you, like, let your
Yeah.
brother feed you, and all this stuff. And it's just like, dude, I think like Van is one of the more twisted people there. I kind of feel like I don't know. She was the only, probably I think the only one in the modern day group besides Lottie who was like, yes, we should do this, feed the spirit. And it's like, what made Van that way? Like, I wonder what about her person or personality makes her buy into it more than the other people.
Wonder if it's because she's got nothing left to lose, like
Yeah,
she's got terminal cancer.
yeah,
Maybe she thinks that this could help her in some way.
yeah. There was a line at the end of the episode where Lottie said, it was just Van and Lottie was being taken off to
Yep.
the psych
Psych
ward,
ward. Yeah.
and she's like, we did feed it, I can feel it, like we did what we were supposed to, we gave it somebody, and like it's gonna work out for us, you'll
Yep.
see, like
You'll
I
see.
promise
Yeah.
you. And there's kind of this look on Van's face, and I wonder if like see, this is where I'm not so sure about the supernatural element, because there
Mm-hmm.
could be this spirit that wants them to die and to be fed, right? And we even see it in the plane scene with Natalie, and like when she's dying, she's on this plane, and young Lottie
Yeah.
comes up to her, and
Yep.
she's
And
like,
Javi's there
and
too.
Javi's there,
Yeah.
and young Natalie's there, and she's like, we did it, like just let it in, just let the spirit in.
Interesting. Yeah. I
And
forgot about that.
we see Natalie kind of do that. Like there's kind of this part where she's like and like something happens, but then
Yep.
it cuts, and it's like, maybe there is something that's kind of feeding on them.
Yep. True that.
Because it is interesting how every season and every character almost has killed somebody. There's been some sort of like,
Directly or indirectly.
yeah, and
Both. Yeah.
it just keeps happening, like it just, like it's almost like an unstoppable fate
Yeah.
that keeps happening. Like, do you ever see the Final Destination movies?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like that, where
Yep.
like these people are meant to die, and nothing is going to stop that fate, and
Yep.
things are going to happen that make that happen. And so there's got to be some sort of aspect to that. But what I was wondering was, when Van is talking to Lottie there at the end, it's like maybe the spirit will heal her cancer, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe we'll find out that the cancer goes into remission, and that's from Natalie dying.
Yeah.
Because in the wilderness, the person that died literally saved everybody else by feeding them.
For sure. Yeah.
What if in the modern day, whoever dies kind of heals them or like repairs them spiritually, or what, I guess in Van's case, physically too.
Yep.
But just in a more like indirect way. Like they're
Mhm.
not eating Natalie, but it's doing the same kind of thing.
Yeah, that's how we're gonna know when
Yeah.
season 3 comes out, episode 1, and it says, "Oh, Van's cancer's gone. She feels great."
Yeah. So then we go back into present day, and we see Walter is messing with this cop, and it's before the big scene where he kind of unveils his whole plan. But when Kevin comes in and he talks to Walter, and
Yep.
Walter's like, oh, I'm such a big fan, like you're a real detective, like I would
Yep.
love to talk to you. And I forget what the first thing he said was. That, oh, at first he was like, oh yeah, Shauna's here, there's a whole coven of them, they're all here. And
And
he's
they're all
like,
crazy,
yeah,
doing bad shit.
exactly. And he's starting to like give Kevin information, and he does that enough to make Kevin feel comfortable with him, and he gives him a cup of cocoa.
Yep.
And Kevin's like, sure, and he drinks it, the idiot, and it's poisoned with the phenobarbital.
Yeah.
And then before he passes out from the pheno, Jeff and Callie come in, and Jeff is like admitting to everything. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm the one who did it, take me. And I thought,
Well, just Jeff comes in, not Callie. Callie takes off to go.
oh, that's right. Callie, yeah,
Yeah.
Callie takes off, and she's secretly got the gun.
Yep.
And Jeff is like, it was me. Like, I planned the whole thing. I was upset about their affair. I killed him, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if Kevin was going to buy it. I think that even with the great acting that he did there, that the character did there,
Yeah.
I don't know if Kevin would have totally
No,
bought
I
it.
don't. I don't think he did at all. I
Yeah.
think because he was like, "Fuck, dude, like
Yeah.
are you really doing this?" Because he's like, "What are you doing, man?"
Right.
Like, he's like, I know what's going on here."
Yeah.
Which kudos to Jeff though. That's,
Yeah. Trying
you know,
to save his wife. And
pretty. I commend him for it.
yeah, which is also dumb because you and I talked on the last discussion that him and Callie should just ditch Shauna and be like,
I mean,
"You're
yeah,
destroying the family. You need to go away."
yep. You are causing way too many issues. I mean,
Yeah.
if getting my kid involved is when I would be like, no, we're not doing
Right.
this.
Right.
No way.
But yeah, so then Kevin passes out from the poison in the cocoa. Then later, what's his name? Walter takes him into the trunk. He puts him in the other cop's trunk, right? That was his
Yeah.
car.
Well, they came together, so they just put it in the cop car's trunk.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Both their cars.
And then I love this scene with Walter. He's like, after the guy passes out, Walter comes in the room and he's talking very calmly to Jeff,
Yeah.
and he's handling the situation in such a fantastic way where he's like, I'm a friend. I'm a friend.
He's like, it's all right, big guy, relax.
He's like,
We're gonna be okay.
he's like, this is good. Like everything's gonna be fine. I just need your help moving this body.
Yep. Just
He's
grab
like,
the legs for me, bud.
I got everything else handled. I just need you to
Yeah.
help me move this guy. And yeah, just Walter is just one of the best things to happen to this season.
Yes. The next one is about Travis eating the heart.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that?
Sure, yeah. Then we fast forward to the point in time where they, Javi's all cut
Cooked
up and quartered,
Or yeah, cut up.
and Shauna walks in with the tray as she did in the past.
Yeah.
And we don't see the tray at first, it's kind of just their faces. She walks in, she sets the tray down, and in the middle is Javi's heart.
Yeah.
And at first when I saw it, I was like, they're probably gonna give this to the spirit. They're gonna put it on the altar or something, or because that's kind of symbolic.
Yeah.
Then she looks at Travis, and Travis, without saying a word, walks over, and they obviously, like, Travis understood what needed to be done, right?
Right.
So this was definitely part of their process in the past. But he grabs his brother's heart. Mind you, this is raw, fresh.
Yeah.
And he takes a bite out of the bottom of it, chews a little bit of it, and then puts it on the pan to fry it. And I was just like, "What? Did you just want to taste your brother like before he was cooked? What was the deal? Or you want to taste his heart once or something?"
There had to be some sort of like
There's significance for sure, yeah. It might be a connection to him, blood, brothers, I don't know, but it was fucking gross.
Yeah, that was disgusting.
And then the rest of them ravenously took the rest of the meat and started cooking it and ate it. And you can imagine not having food for weeks and weeks and weeks, and the first protein you can get as a person. But I mean, at that point, it's just steak. Just eat it. It's meat.
Right. At that point, it's like all the horrible shit has already been done.
Yeah, like we just need to survive.
Right. So when people cut up like a deer or something, do people eat the heart? Is that a normal thing to cook up?
Absolutely. Yep.
Oh,
totally.
Okay. Is it good?
I've never tried deer heart. I have had cow heart before, and it's good. I've also had cow tongue, which is also pretty good.
Tongue.
Yeah. It's just it's the most nutrient dense. Well, that or the liver, I guess the liver is, but it's super nutrient dense. So people, the health freaks, they love organ meat.
Right.
So liver, kidneys, all that stuff. So yeah, people love it, and you can cook it, you can eat it, and I've heard that deer heart is very tasty.
Wow. Okay.
If prepared correctly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So then it kind of pans up, and we see like Lottie, who is avoiding this whole thing for the longest time. She gets a bowl, and
Misty brings her one. Misty's like, Lottie, you need to fucking eat. You need to get back down here. Misty's been bossy to her lately, kind of just like, you better listen to me, bitch.
Right.
I guess good for Misty, but yeah, then she finally gives in and eats Javi.
And she just like that little
First
bite.
bite, dude.
Dude, the
Yeah.
whole idea of this show is so fucking wild. I messaged the Fiction Fans podcast earlier,
Hmm.
and I was like, "Are you guys watching Yellowjackets?" And they're like, "No, we've seen you post about it, but we don't know like what it's about." And I'm like, I just succinctly said a girls' soccer team in the 90s gets stranded on their way to nationals in the wilderness, and a bunch of weird stuff starts happening, and they have to become cannibals to survive. And the Fiction fans are like, "Oh,
Sold.
holy shit!" They're like,
Sold.
"Wow, that's."
I'm there.
I think her exact words were, "That's a lot," and I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is."
Yeah, it's a lot.
Just because, like,
You
I
should have
don't.
eased him into it a little bit.
Just because, like, you think about it, and you watch some of these scenes, and you're like, kind of rooting for them to eat because you know that they need to survive, they need to
Yeah.
eat. But then you remember that this is a human that they had to kill, and they
Yep.
all had to collectively decide who dies in order
Yeah.
for.
Crazy.
Dude, and that's the craziest thing about the card thing. Everybody being in a circle and knowing that one of us has to die so that the rest of us can eat, and that's just what has to happen.
It's
And
absolutely psychotic.
dude, it's so nuts. And it's the same idea of like the movies that really unsettled me was like The Purge,
Mm.
where you are deciding that people that are in your town are going to die by your hand. Like,
Yep.
it's just the most wild and unsettling thing.
Yeah.
And the whole card thing, I think the writers could have done that any number of ways. I think the card thing is by far the most
Ominous and fucking
like ominous,
spooky.
because it's not brutal, like it's not an act
No,
of
yeah, it's nothing
passion.
extravagance. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just a
just.
simple flip of it's
Yep,
52 to 1 odds.
yep. And it's
Yeah.
like it's just the cold understanding of one of us needs to die so the rest of us can eat. And when someone draws that card, the rest of the group just kind of puts on their cold
Yep.
face, and they're like, okay, this is gonna happen now, you're
Yeah.
gonna die. And we even see it in the present day when Shauna draws her card,
Hmm.
and Lottie is like, you can either submit or
Or you
you
can
can
run
run. And
and we'll
Shauna,
chase you.
yeah, and Shauna
Yeah.
like starts to back away. She's like, okay, you're running, is that your decision? And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's
It's
so
crazy.
good, dude. It's
Yep.
so it's so evil, and it's so good. Like, oh my god, what a great, um I don't even know what the right word, not theme, but what a great thing to put in the show, just
For
to make
sure.
everybody as uncomfortable as possible.
Yes. You should not be comfortable.
You should not be comfortable while watching this. So yeah, then we see so yeah, they start that whole event in the modern day, the whole hunt and all of
Yep.
that. And meanwhile, Walter throws Kevin's phone in the trunk, and we
With his
see,
body.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we see that Callie's got a gun. She meets the other guy on the trail, and she's about to pull it, and the other guy gets a call um
Kevin's phone.
from Kevin's phone, and
And
he's
it's
like, I gotta go.
Walter
Yeah,
and Jeff, and they're playing like a sound bite
right,
of it, and it sounds like he's cutting out, and so he's like, all right, I gotta go find my partner.
right. So he
Uh,
runs past Callie and goes to the trunk, and I guess we can just talk about that. Walter, he comes up to this trunk. He's like, fuck, he can't open it. And he finally gets it open, and Walter comes up behind him and takes his gun and shoots Kevin's body like 3 times.
yep.
And he's like, now you have a decision to make.
Yeah.
And
Badass.
so did you understand this whole what Walter's doing here a little bit more than I did?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I don't know if more than you, but I think that Walter's been behind the scenes, been making this paper trail,
Yeah. Okay.
um, kind of a false paper trail, and I'm sure he can do it. He's a pretty smart dude. But he basically tells whatever the other cop's name is, he's like, what I think is happening, is that you might find a paper trail that Kevin Tan was actually the one to murder Adam.
Right.
And then he's been impeding this investigation by looking into Shauna, and he just
Yeah.
lists several things that
Right.
would
Okay.
get a cop locked up forever, right?
Right.
Um, and then he says, or, uh, or yeah, then
He's like, you
he's
could be the guy that uncovers the whole thing.
that's right, and you could get, accolades and awards and this and that, or you could be the guy that where I'm directing my malice, and they would go
Right.
after you.
Yeah.
And so, I thought was really smart,
Yeah.
like he really is just
What a
fucking love that
boss.
guy, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of surprised when, Walter walks away, and then later at the end we see the partner, or whatever the fuck his name is, I can't remember
Yeah.
it, but we see the partner like, like kind of like faking weeping on the side, and you asked me, you're like, what is he gonna do about the body?
Yeah.
Like Kevin's body, it's in his trunk, and I was like, that's a good question. I was like, the only thing, if he wants to get away clean, the only thing he could do would be to go, hide the body somewhere where nobody would ever find it, and
Yeah.
figure out a way to make that work.
Yeah.
Um,
Or I was thinking either that, or what if he before the cops all got there, what if he set up the body so it made it look like he shot him and was like, Kevin drew a gun on me, I told him I figured out his whole plan. And
oh,
I
that's smart too. Yeah,
I feel like it wasn't really clear though, so
it wasn't.
I don't
I
know if
didn't
the other
even.
cops know about the body or what.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I wasn't super interested in that whole story. I mean, I was interested because it's like it's part of the events of the
Yeah,
show, but as far as in relation to the other events on the
yeah,
show, that storyline was the one that I was kind of the least interested in. Now
yeah.
I'm very interested to
Yep,
see where
for
it
sure.
goes.
Me too.
So,
Yeah, because I mean, the culmination of all of the problems present day girls have had.
yeah.
I mean, that's been it. It's been killing Adam and trying to run away from that for 2 seasons. Well, not all of 2 seasons, but
Yeah.
uh, for a long time. And so, like, when I was about to say Elijah, when Walter's like, the problem, it's gone. I've taken care of it, utterly taken care of it. You will not have to worry. I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
how the fuck did that happen? Like, what's
Right.
gonna play out? Is it true? Is it not? Well, we'll just
And,
have to.
and it'll be interesting to see in the next season too, because what if the other partner, the guy that got framed,
Mhm.
like what if this group is now able to blackmail him and use him as a cop on the inside for whatever they need done? That
Oh,
might get kind of interesting and
for
come to like an
sure.
explosive head where he's like, I'm not fucking doing
I'm
this
done with
anymore.
this shit. I'd
And
rather go
then
to
they kill
jail.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, or kill him. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah. I still think that I still think Shauna, like, she's got to be the next one to die, I would imagine. Like, I think Shauna has a limited shelf life.
Yeah, I would probably agree. I
Yeah.
would probably agree. I think Lottie's gonna be the longest one to live. I don't know if
Yeah.
she'll be the last, but I could totally see her like outliving most of the girls,
Yeah.
just because of her craziness, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
If she's
What?
got like a special connection or something.
Yeah. What if it gets down to Thaisa in the last season, and it's kind of been like, by the end of the show, it's almost been proven that there was no supernatural element, and then it gets down to Thaisa, and the very last scene in the very last episode is her like experiencing the spiritual, like whatever the spiritual thing is,
Oh, that'd be
and
crazy.
it's like, oh, it was real the whole time. Like that'd be a great twist if they
Be
took us
nuts.
one way and brought us back.
I thought you were gonna say she would realize the culmination of that and, you
Oh
know,
yeah, and right,
yep,
do the thing,
unalive herself. Yeah.
unalive herself. um so then I have this note here because Lottie says, are you gonna refuse the draw? You know what happens when you refuse the draw. And I'm kind of like, what
Well,
happens
yeah,
if you
what
refuse the
happens?
draw?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we've seen that yet.
Yeah, I
And
would
it could have happened to the other girls too. Like it might be something we see happen to one of the girls that's been gone
yeah,
for a while.
I'm sure we'll see one of them
Yeah.
in the past refuse the draw at some point, and I would imagine that if you refuse the draw, then you're automatically just the
Instant
one who's hunted.
for sure, yeah.
But yeah, it's just like that whole thing. I can't get over it. Just the whole drawing of the cards is so
Yeah, it's
wild.
pretty wicked.
Um, So then we talked about this a little bit. Shauna draws the queen. She says, there's no it, right? It was just us. And then Lottie says, is there a difference?
Yeah.
And that is there a difference line is so good, because it's like, yeah, like we might be the big bad thing out in the woods. Like we may be the evil, like if there is no spirit influencing us, then we are the evil that does
Yeah.
this. Like, it's
Yeah, that's gnarly, dude.
great line. Great line. So then as we get to the end here, my note is they're all chasing Shauna. Callie comes out of nowhere with the gun, shoots Lottie in the arm, and then Lottie has this weird thing she says. She says, "This is your daughter. She's so powerful. Do you guys
Yeah.
feel it? It's here." And she said a couple other things I forgot to write down too, but she was going on and on about Shauna's daughter having some sort of
Power.
power in
Yep.
her. And so I'm interested to see if that plays a part, because that's kind of what I was wondering. Because initially, I thought that Callie was the baby that was
Was the
born out in
daughter.
the wilderness,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
um, and that she may have come back with some sort of spiritual power.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think Lottie is more tuned into that than people think she is. And
Yep.
because as soon as Callie came out, Lottie was like, oh my God, like
Instantaneous. Yeah,
she felt something from her. So yeah, I don't really have much more to say about that, other than I'm really excited to see what happens with that storyline.
for sure.
And then it gets revealed that Ty and Van called off the psych team,
Yep.
and they said this thing. I don't know. They're like, we called off the psych team, and so does that mean that they were all really hunting Shauna?
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough. I feel like Van was
Yeah,
for sure,
Van was.
but I feel like Thaisa was like maybe kind of just waiting until the shoe dropped and
Yeah,
shit changed, but they were acting like that's what was happening.
yeah. I was like, oh my God. And Natalie, I felt probably like, because Natalie and Misty turned around, and they were
Yeah.
like, wait, what? You called off the psych team?
Yep.
And so I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, because we, like, after all this happened, we really don't get a lot of time with everybody together after this whole thing goes down.
No, yeah, yeah.
And so
Well, it's like pretty much the last scene, at
yeah,
least in the future, anyways, or in the
right,
present.
right.
Yeah.
And then one of them, I think Ty says, because they said we called off the psych team, and then the other two turn around and say what, and Shauna says, why are you doing that? And she's like, look at her, we made her like this,
Yeah.
looking at Lottie, which is true, but I don't know what that has to do with hunting Shauna.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Eventually the psych team came out, and they got her taken away though, because what's her name comes out with a shotgun.
Yep. Cutie with the piercings.
Cutie with the piercings
Yeah.
comes out with a shotgun.
Well, and that's when Natalie dies,
That's right. Yeah,
because Misty, so she's like threatening, don't hurt my spiritual leader or whatever the fuck Lottie is
right.
to them, but and then Misty's got the phenobarbital and she's sneaking around the back, and all of a sudden
And she's gonna hit the girl with the
she
shotgun.
runs at the girl with the needle, and then that's when Natalie pops in front of her and saves her life, because Natalie was like, I think she really liked the girl, right? Like the
Yeah.
girl took time to like try and help her
Right.
on a
Yeah.
profound level.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was really sad.
I don't think it clicked in my head that Natalie was like taking the place of her. I thought she was
Yes,
pushing her out of the way, but
no,
it makes more sense
she
that
was saving her life.
like
Yeah,
she
she
jumped in
took her.
front.
Yep, yep.
Damn.
Yeah, gnarly.
Oh, it's so sad. I really hate to see Natalie go, because she was
I
by
know.
far my favorite character.
Yeah.
Even as like shitty as she is and as crazy as she is, I thought that she was the most interesting. But it also does make a lot of sense, because you look at the whole storyline, because if you remember in the first season, Natalie's entire storyline was trying to find Travis. That was her
Yep.
whole goal.
Yep.
And then she did, and he's dead. And then even in the second season, she's finding out more. And earlier in the second season, we kind of see that Lottie led him to his death and was like, yes, you need to do this. And she like
Yeah.
talked him through the whole thing. And so Natalie's kind of story, I feel, is over for the most part. Like I'm sure they could have figured out more stuff for her to do, but the whole goal that she had from the beginning of the show, from the first episode, is kind of at its end now. And so it makes sense that she would be the one to go. But I will always want more Natalie.
Yeah,
Like,
for
what a
sure.
great character. So yeah, then we get Natalie on the plane with everyone. We see young Natalie talk to old Natalie, which was awesome. That was a
Yep.
moment where I was like, oh, that is cool. Seeing like your younger self and just communicating in that way, like that is
For
really
sure.
cool.
Yep.
And it really makes me wonder,
And it
like,
was, and young Lottie was there too. Young Lottie and Javi. They were
yep,
all made
yep.
a visit to her on that plane, which makes me think like, is there a part of Lottie that's like died and went to that place?
Oh yeah, why was Lottie there?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's the case, but it
Ooh,
makes me think that that could potentially be something. Like a part of her was lost out there and died maybe, or a part of her is with the spirits. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
what if the twist is that there is no Lottie in present day, and this whole group psychosis thing, that would be a little far fetched, because
Well, I
how
mean,
would they all be seeing the same thing?
but it could, dude. It could
Or
happen.
what if modern late day Lottie is the spirit or something? I don't
Yes,
know.
yes.
But yeah, how the fuck was she on the plane?
Yeah, I don't know.
Ooh, I didn't even consider that until you just said that. That's really interesting. But yeah, then we get the scene in the past where younger Lottie hands leadership over to Natalie.
Yeah.
This was a great scene, just everybody kind of coming up, and some people like shook her hand, some
Some
people
curtsied,
curtsied, and
bowed.
yeah, and then Travis comes up and he puts her hand on his heart.
Yep.
Oh, it was a good scene.
Yeah.
Good scene. So then Lottie's telling Van at the end, we gave it what it wanted. It's pleased with us. You'll see. And so we'll have to see that play out in
Yep.
season 3. And then we get Misty and Walter, and he's walking up to her and she's like, I just killed my best friend. And they
He
kind of
grabs her in an embrace.
embrace, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm ready for this couple,
Yep, me
this
too.
relationship.
For
Like,
sure.
let's
For
go.
sure.
And then we get Jeff and Shauna, and they're kind of embracing. I can't remember if they said anything to each other at
I
the end
don't
there.
think so. I think it was just Shauna was just crying.
Yeah. And everybody's just kind of together. Then Lottie goes off to the psych ward. And as far as the modern day story, I feel like that was a
Way
good
to stop.
ending.
Yeah.
I feel like we could have used, like because we get one final twist at the end of the past storyline with
Mm-hmm.
the cabin,
Yeah.
but in the modern day storyline, besides Natalie dying, I feel like there should have been just like one more
Little
little
tidbit.
thing
Yeah, for
to
sure.
kind of send us off on a little bit of a cliffhanger.
Yeah. I totally agree.
But then to wrap up the episode, everybody's in the cabin, and Ben has decided that there has been enough of this shit.
They all need to die.
They all need to die, and he sets the cabin on fire.
And he barricades all the doors so they all just
Yep.
burn. It's
Dude.
fucking crazy, dude. I didn't think he
What?
was capable of that. I thought he
I
was just gonna
know.
go and
Go on
be
his
by
own way.
himself. Yeah.
Dude.
Or
Yeah, he
what about this, dude?
huh.
Here's a theory.
Hmm.
I wonder, because he went back to that hole. I wonder if he was maybe told to do that, or there was
Oh.
something there that like made him crazy, or said, I want you to
Yeah.
take all this life, or I don't know.
Yeah. That could be interesting. I would be so surprised. I think one of the best twists that they could pull off is if it came out that Ben is alive in modern day.
Ooh,
I think that would be like the most surprising thing that I would cheer for,
yeah,
is if he was alive in modern day. But I also kind of wonder that if he becomes kind of a villain in the past, I don't know, or just like a tragic, like they just kill him and eat him, and it's super tragic.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because we've heard nothing of Ben in modern day. Like, we've heard
Nope,
no mention
not a
of him,
word. Yeah.
absolutely nothing. So I don't know. I think that there is a ton more super unsettling things to come now that
Mm-hmm.
now that it has been set in motion that they have this game that they play with the cards, and that is how
Yep.
people die in the past. I think we're in for a really horrific season 3. I think it's just gonna be. I think season 3 is where everything is just gonna go to absolute hell.
Yep.
But
I would
I
totally agree. It's gonna be nuts, dude.
yeah, I can't see this show running more than
Then
4
3,
seasons,
maybe
maybe.
4.
I
Yeah.
could see it wrapping up with 4, but even 3 seasons, I could see it wrapping up
Yeah.
at the end of the 3rd season. But yeah, great
Yep.
show so
Great
far.
finale.
I've enjoyed watching season 2 with you. It's been fun, kind of both being able to react to it
Yep.
along the way. And I'm super excited for season 3.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. Well, that is going to wrap us up there. Thanks for hanging out with us while we talk about all of season 2. If you've been here for the whole ride, thank you so much for
Yes.
exploring season 2 with us and just kind of being on this journey with us. If you'd like to talk more about season 2 or any of the Yellowjackets seasons so far, or any of the characters or whatever, hit us up in the comments, or you can reach out to us on Twitter or Discord, which are both linked in the description. Also linked in the description, of course, is our Patreon, which is where you can help support us financially if you feel so inclined to do so. If you can't support us financially, that's totally fine. Subscribing and liking helps us out way more than you can imagine. Like, really,
Yes.
the algorithm sees people subscribing, and it's like, okay, we're going to recommend their content more. And especially here on the second channel, you know, we need some more subscribers over here because we definitely don't have as many as our main channel.
Mhm.
So yeah, just doing that helps us out a ton. Thank you guys so much. Thank you again for being on this whole ride with us. And I think that is going to wrap us up there. Until next time, Gabe.
What do you hear in the trees, in the snow?
And a big shout out to our first Night Angel tier patron, Shad Zaman. Thank you so much, man.